xaat bu xawna ni mu nga wax ñaar mun na ci am ñetti na ñep am moy farata nga jënd benn mag lo xam ne end of the day do ci am tiyabu da
so man nak ken waxuma suma green baxna way fashion online Gambia ñoo jaar ci suma green bi balde kañ nga iñaan
no bala mo
no way société
fashion online Gambia
société vidéo buñ def noonu enjoy my life allow me bobu soko sété légui ni wax na la sa green baxna
so fashion online Gambia, thank you so much for the jacket. I really love it. It's an online fashion brand where there's no shop, it's mobile, you order and they drop it for you. So before I leave, I'll just give their number so that you can kindly contact them, and they have a variety of clothes. So today we actually kind of alter our usual arrangement of the program. Normally, yes, we get to start with African proverb and then head right on to newspaper review. But because our president here has engagements, due to reasons beyond his control, he has to leave us soon. So we have to start with him, and then later we will deal with our African proverb here as well as newspaper review. And on social issues, journalist Ajibintu Drame was in Nigeria, Lagos, or Abuja, I'm not sure, either ways, recently attending an event on ECOWAS trade advocacy for media and practitioners. So she'll be here to tell us everything in relation to journalists reporting on trade-related matters. What are some of the challenges? What is the way forward? What is she bringing back to us to learn from her? Obviously, she'll join us soon to tell us all about it. So yes.
Well, exactly. So let's talk about transport. As you know, Mr. Sise is a very busy man, and he have other engagements to attend to. But this is going to be a quick one. Mr. Sise, once again, you are welcome on this platform.
Thank you, sir.
I categorize you under the most important people in this country. When you talk about the president, you talk about the vice president, you talk about the speaker, you must talk about the transport union president, because, I mean, the movement, they control it. So can you tell us, I mean, I'm hearing rumors that, I mean, you are planning to increase the fares. Is that so?
Thank you, Jenaba and Mr. Balde and QTV staff and management. Eid Mubarak. Yes, my, a second office.
This is your home. This is where you work.
Still no allowance, no salary.
We'll start writing check for you.
I'm protesting so that the break can hear me. Yeah, we wrote to the government for the fare increment. It's well overdue because we are feeling a series of challenges in our day-to-day activities in terms of our operation. So we feel it's very necessary to engage the government on that issue. So we started a few months ago, but this last increment is too much. So we cannot manage that one. So that's why we discuss with our partners, that is journalists, so that everybody can know exactly what we are facing. So finally, we wrote to the government. We are expecting to call us so that we can discuss and make fair increment.
Well, Omar, hanga man lima lay laaj. Yen dama gis ne fuel su yoko ngeen ne pass dafa wara yoko. Because fuel bu yoko, it's about global dynamics. It doesn't have to do with President Adama Barrow, Talk State House, yoko fuel. Nekut ci loxom. It's about global problems, global issues that happen lu dé waral fuel wañeku. So legi fuel su wacce fuel naka pass be fa wacce.
Yeah, this lead the farm solo trop. We discussed with the government our previous discussion or agreement we signed. Because fuel the farm connect on the global market. Gambia government they control man right. But that's why we work on the certain percentage basis, because fuel is is a key component in terms of our day-to-day activities. Mun nañu bal mom dañ ko soxla every seconds. Mon su evidence to increase the affection job. Moo tax ñu discuss with the government ñu agree on percentage basis. Nekku ne fuel yokk na pass wara yokk. Dafa am patient bo su fari ci dañu war a yokk pass. Dafa am patient su wàcce bi aga fo de war a wàññi pass. So loolu la agree.
Logi dynamic boobu loolu su ceeñee mu wàcca percentage bi nga wax ni. Ndax si biir agreement bi pass dina wàcc. Waaye yéen transport union bi doo leen dee taxaw si loolu. Ñaata yoon la fi pass yokku and then things mu stabilize. Driver yi seen boppa take the law into their own hands, maintain lu leen ne.
No, let me tell you what, in 2017 fuel wàcc na fi 10-20%. Government call us ñu wàññi pass bi. We are keep forefront on that because them feel ne loolu mooy dëgg because we are all consumers.
Waaw waaye wàññi pass bi daf day nekk diplomatique talk nañ negotiate nañ waaye do they reflect the drivers yi?
No, what I mean, I'm not a law enforcement officer. That is not my mandate is to engage the government. And as far as we are concerned, the fair remain the same. But to show enforcement, that is not my duty.
Déedéet loolu du sa duty waaye da ngaa gis ne ni ngeen dee poussé time yi things when things go south on your side. Ak on the other hand, du dee nekk benn du dee tali si man.
It's the same.
Omar musuloo ñëw fii this morning nga toog wax ne tey da nga ñëw wax ak drivers yi pour ñu réguler seen boppa.
I used to do that every time. The morning pass you could fair men the shame, kuko yaha lua. I think that's my duty.
Society si paper
but so in real situation at the ground, that is not my money.
Mr. Cissé, society si paper bi fii daga gis ne lu ma gis si point newspaper bi nga ne we agree that if fuel price goes up to 20%, okay, we should increase the transport fare. At that time, we took the baseline at 52.23 per liter. But today, fuel has increased to 73.78, which means each liter, $21.55 has been increased. Wow. So it's like the increment depends on the liter. And the last time you discussed was in 2021. You engaged the government. I can remember that.
By November.
Yes, exactly. So now, for me, actually I understand how drivers suffer sometimes. It is very difficult. You know, you take little fares and you buy fuel at a very high price. I know how difficult it is. But now, how will people consume this? How will people digest this information? I used to pay $8 from my junction, Mandinari, to NTC. But now I am paying $13. You know, so what about now? If at all it's moving from $13 to $15, how will people digest?
That's why in normal situation, before increment transport fare or decrease it, we invite the relevant stakeholders so that they can make their input, raise their concerns. I'm representing the drivers. That's why somebody will represent the consumers there, so that he can protest the consumers' right, what they are facing. But our real situation, as I said before, you know, in fare determined by different factors. Fuel is important. The volume of, the passengers are important, and the nature of the traffic also is important, and the spare parts cost. I think essential goods at the market. But in Gambia here, we take our 90% on the fuel because it's a key component. The time we made this agreement, that is by November 3rd, that's the fuel was 52.23. Today is 73. It's about 21.55. That is per liter, $21.55. That's not a small amount. So if drivers want to manage that situation, that's why some individuals have increased transport their own self. And that is not correct. We want to avoid that, so that we will want to engage the relevant stakeholders, so that we can discuss and digest. We can see what we can do, so at the end of the day we will benefit. Because the consumers, we are all consumers. We are all paying fares. But what we consider can mitigate the situation. This is challenges. But we cannot leave things like this. Everybody will do one or two things. I think that's not fair.
Yeah, man, some people will say it's not realistic. Why? Dama feel ne Ibrahima transport dañ ko wara sétat bu baax comme structure ko in a very good way.
Agree.
Xam nga because dafa ñaaw drivers yi sax lu bari wax nga ko ne you are not a law enforcement. Why man bëgg na la gis Omar hit na sax ñoom suñu dem enforce sax nga toppa ci ñoom. Xawma na understand lu mean. Amulo mandate bi waaye pour nga just be there come to show these people ne yow as the president pare nga sax ne okay that things see dafa wara change because Julie dafa jot sa nga dégg ko wa $50 Banjul in their own hands right now ñu ngi yokk pass in si ñoom seen wili boppa am na driver bu ma duga mu ne ma ne man dama balaa ngaa duga si moto bi dama la dee wax ne nga decide yow consumer bi foofu is helpless ban decision la mën a make foog mu dem aaga fan la war a dem soo mënut a decide foofu dara loo ko caaj loolu la moo fay kon dafa mel ni dawaluñu yërmande daal driver yi nekkuñu dawal yërmande
moo tax soo demee on the Motor Traffic Act on the section 4 wax na lii any commercial vehicle lu war am sa biir mooy the commercial the official tariff on your vehicle failing to do so is a crime according to the act you can be sentenced for 1 month imprisonment. So I think that's why I say it's not my mandate. But what was important here li nga njëkk a wax moo am solo the transport sector government def ko silent not su ma ne government am na the previous government you fi pass yëpp because let me set example from our counterparts here Gambia fii soo bëggee nekk transport yu jël sama dëgg ko taxi rek nga dugg ci système amul benn guidelines pour li la moo war a govern it's a business doo si mel ne ku ñëw rek ba def soo dugg just like that and you understand so for that way soo fekkee loolu moo xew we don't make any strategy in place any we are facing challenges because nit ñi amuñ xel nit ñi bokkuñ xalaat These are the challenges we are facing. That's why our individual and the union level, government na indi act on the commercial transport sector. Li moy loi bi. Failing to do so, you face consequences. But su ko baye li open like that, dina affect. Like, let me set an example from our counterpart here. But Russia, Ukraine, because my levy, but still, they have fuel diesel price you go control. Because in Senegal we have $16 different per liter. Yeah. $16 different. Why don't you? Because according to their my counterparts, government the fuel never connect to the market. Always so called market. So send petrol is too higher, almost 81. But the fuel is still 58. So the fact that in Gambian today, our commercial vehicles like trucks, transport in Senegal, they can generate fuel. So that's alone is a reserve revenue. But I feel the Minister of Finance, they want to do the proper consultation before increasing the transport fuel price. Sometimes government just sacrifice and do something end of the day for our end users. And at the same time, I challenge the Minister of Finance. They have been saying they have been subsidy on fuel. Man, still I don't believe in it. I don't see any realistics. I don't see anything who can, believe me, they are doing subsidies. Because they need a breakdown of the things. This is the, cost of the crude oil at the world market. This is the, CIF cost. This is exactly. People need to know. But you cannot come out, I'm selling, fuel supposed to be 94, I'm selling in 73, I subsidy $20. That is too cheap. Let's, make open things. If we are all a human being. So that we can analyze. So that exactly we know what the government is doing.
So because I'm not been time bolen fi waxone da ngeen am yena list of demands yi ngeen bëgg government bi topa because ya ngewa about man waxuma ko da ya ko wax ne government dafa sideline transport.
Yes.
Man dama ne government war nañu set structure.
Man ko dañ ko sideline.
Wa bala ñu da wax way man li ma wax moy demands yoy nonu ngay wax demands yi ngeen waxon bu yaga garage all these things dama bëgg xam ndax fan ngeen si toolu because from there dinañ mën a ascertain da digga sideline bi nga wax ni digga la mbaa
okay so when the government sidelines I'm not talking about the when the government I've seen since colonials
no
since colonial because I see this present government this present administration in transport department transport director I think that is a big achievement
at least
but loolu moo fa amutoon kon loolu sideline so moo tax su loolu amoon démba tey luñ ci nekk du ko fekkee tey kon tey su government nii su ko defee our future generation I feel that they can get something better.
Léegi how far with that?
Our demand from the government léegi rek moo nekk pending. mooy suñu between Gambia and Senegal. loolu bi la si spending. but yëpp def na si effort mooy pass yu yokk na ñëpp gis nañ ko it's part of demands. the previous am nañ 8 garage from the government.
ok garage yi mu ngi operational.
No. Because garage yooyu they nekk on the I don't know how to call it at the layout but the strategic location like KMC Brikama loolu ba léegi is a problem because fuñ propose as a garage is owned by individuals not government. So I think government is developing a negotiation naka lay jëlee si ñoom. And the most importantly Sénégal bridge d'accord na si price bi but it's not yet operational but d'accord na si price pour wàññi the bridge cost bi. And the same time queuing system at the port is operational mu ngi dox every passage. We are measure them for checking is normal. So these are the 6 demands. Lu nekk pending as a mooy diggante Gambia ak Senegal ak bridge bi start operational. Loolu moo si but rest alhamdulillah.
Okay, that's good news.
What about the destination registration?
Road lancing.
Wow. Lulu, how far have we gone?
Okay, road lancing bu ñu ko starté woon because dafa bokkoon suñu agreement with the government. Just to avoid this tripling and double fares. Bu ñu ko starté ñu def ko pilot as a trial. I think 100 and something vehicles registered already. So the issue is some people like some drivers, customers bring some value point. They feel that they found they go back and so they make a final agreement. But bala ñu pare just story be fuel you can up to 20% again. So lot of affect. Hanga fuel bi gaay ñu ngi gis tay. Ñum pass bi bala ñu start operational fuel bi reach na 20% increment. So the two things cannot go because so ne bëgg yokka tamit di ngay laal public bi motax still the committee ñu ngi xool digest ko lu mëna def pour ñu mëna just this burden about this triple and double fares at the same time naka la mëna def bu ñu mëna reduce this traffic congestion because for example tey rek laa gis Gambia since 1 year ago traffic mu free yeah
but less than 10 minutes laa def digante suma kër ba office
lu waral loolu
tey
ni ci dem liggéey
tey traffic baa ngi empty
waaw loolu ñaaw na de
yeah because from the camera here it take me 20 minutes
wow
used to take me 3 hours.
Wow.
To get
kind of thing.
So lolu problem la Mr. Cissé.
It's a big problem. So lolu but right now the rulers in it, it's my personal concern. Lo xamantene dama feel ne jëm def balance between the drivers and the commuters. When the drivers ñoo liggéey end of the ñu am dara. The consumers the client yi watan ñoo mëna am easy transportation for them.
What a balance because the same driver you drive, same mbokk yi ak seen am jàmm ñoy jël pass.
Always dafa day wax ne nan seet the both side.
Wa dafa wara balance.
Nan seet man always mooy suma advocacy mooy ne nan tax ñu balance things bi. Mbir na level ku nekk mun na am jaama driver nay am jaama bari client rek war am jaama because lu ñoo sofa ñun la ñoo sofa because ñun su amee our own private ba our family amuñ ko ñun dañoo use that public transport pour ñu dem seen job yi ak seen soxla yi so right now issue la but let me tell you one thing the government lu ma bëgg a man nañ have a political will on transport is the will of the economy nga transport su soxee wala dina fi nekk di wiiri wara rek but we are not moving inch because dafa connected security dafa connected our activities. But so figure that like high government union, they want the electoral, sign in, sign out. So about transport no signing.
There is a guy that sent me a message from Basse by the name Malamba. He said from Kombo to Basse during Tobaski is 1,500. He said that is wickedness.
It's wickedness. Driver.
System for control. Because so figure gonna feel the yoga. But what about that certain? At least
they are capitalizing on this situation.
This is it. Mota, they want to regulate the sector. The first and foremost. I'm here as a president. But a few times like I will live in a society. Suma jabare, suma domi, they have been let me tell you, man, suma doms, in school. So what it is, sometimes I used to drive more than Jellico. You don't have a motor. That's a boarding. Sometimes you know face, you face like face. They don't keep my domain president. No, even man used to because you have but you know them if you political, you structure the sector. Sector in structure, man, they disagree. You buy more open lune why deaf man. I disagree with it. Government time ready to invest money. Man, I don't believe in the government. I'm in space. So I'm in space. It's just what I come. I'm in space for public transport guys. Government for investment for the public transportation. Let me tell you, you got public transport like GTSCC as a public transport, but it's not enough. Am I right? So I'm a different public transport. So let me west. Pringa just need your motor is very rare. Man, local but fii soo bëgg sax di nga ko am because the situation moo laa force pour nga am moto.
waaw gis nga nag loolu moo nekk problème bi moo tax léegi ku nekk mu ngi jënd moto.
ku nekk jënd moto. waaw is getting another body for traffic bi Mr. Cissé trafic bi in 10 years dafa garaaw de. yeah moo tax right now government what the government need because soo demee traffic nga do assessment the average of the vehicles are private. ñu go to the private 1 2 3 people ñoo fa nekk su gën a bari 3 people ñoo fa la. so soo indee public bus soo xam ne mu jógee man yarim by 8 o'clock. Like for now, QTV by 9. Why are you going to bother yourself? You're going to fuel 300, 400.
Jaruko.
Don't you know 550 on your job? Go watch it. If the government create again to promote structure from Brikama, let me tell you one strong strategy location from Brikama to Manieri. You can show Ame. Remember and Banjo Munna river transportation.
Wow. That's a point.
But because rely on one route, we are facing a lot of difficulties. Sometimes ambulance alarms are they confused. Don't have to come. So the farm life needs to focus. But I think government needs to focus. But for me, to build a road is very important. But for you hold the operational aspect, for you modify it, I think that's very important.
Very, very important.
Yes.
xam naa ne jël nañ time Mr. Cissé bu baax xam naa ne dañ ko release moom mu dem
waaye balaa moo dem quickly rek you made a claim in relation to insurance companies so are you with the same conviction as we speak
up to the system bi change rek because lu ma wax dama ko gëm lu ne ma ko xam I'm not alleging anyone because we are all Gambia, we are all consumers I disagree people ñu jënjal sa alal di la ko jox end of the day I'm not getting benefit I disagree with it. Mota ku joxon sama driver man nangu na ñoo dañu togn. But insurance is just an agreement between the vehicle owner and the company.
Waaw waaye fooguloo tam da nga war a encourage sa members ñuy def comprehensive.
It's both comprehensive third party is different. Third party it's a contract.
Waaye ñoom ñu bari third party lañ dee.
Man third party dafa war a fay. Man loolu la rek third party dafa war a fay. Man today so if vehicle hit my vehicle, let me take example from myself. Your insurance moo war a fay. Du yow de man la war a fay. The commercial vehicle, the passenger on board, so actually, insurance, you know, those are third parties. But now, the policy you want to declare alone. ñu war a xamal loolu ban ñaata
because drivers you understand this insurance
Gambia do driver sa Gambia sa ba ñu understand do driver de the insurance policy holders ñu moom moto ñaar sax xamuñ because first and foremost insurance du leen jox policy documents loolu war a guide loolu rek crime la
déedéet waaye man according to the insurance company ñu ne bu ñu leen joxee policy document duñ koy sax read
waaw
da ngaa gis ku ñëw rek ñu jox ko policy document mu ne nii dem
ma ne
du ko read
jërëjëf
man loolu la ma gaay wax association
I know you are a competent journalist talk your mind go to the street laaj nit ñi mbaa dañoo am policy bu nekk ñun ñëpp fii la nekk dégg nga dañoo allégué dañoo luy dégg moo tax man I owe the government through central bank sax ñoo because ñoo régulateur bi du mu fi nekk ñoo fi nekk pour behalf of the people gis na insurance ñu ngi nekk di scam nit ñi ñu noppi ci man I disagree because most importantly mooy central bank ñoo war a dimbale nit ñi xam ne dëgg insurance nañ nit ñi suñu fay insurance bi na insurance compagnie compensé nit ñi ma dégg di wax ne ñu wax ne Gambia commercial vehicle yu fi nekk moto yu fi nekk na 100,000 vehicle that is totally I disagree it's not true am na ku ma ne wala da rafet wax ñu ne we are advocacy body ñun lu mbir ñun la ñu koy waxee du fi ñu ko di laam-laamee mbir bi Gambia yi ne Gambia is almost 300,000 vehicles nga man 100,000
da ngeen def research
let me give you simple example do you know age number plates is 10,000 vehicles Banjul ban number la nekk
BJL.
Yeah.
BJL is around
W.
W now. Yes.
W. That is from A to W is how many letters? It's almost 26. So the minus V, O, I, etc. You have at least Banjul, you have 200,000 vehicles. In the region, you know, Gambia is less than 100,000 vehicles. Fi Gambia, nyaka ambulance mo gen nyaka insurance. Do ko chaxane sa. All those vehicles are contributing something. may dégg ñu ne waa di wax nit ñi ne ñaata véhicule leen compensé ñaata nit leen compensé mooy compensation is different aspect.
déedéet compensation boobu moom pour ma leeral rek ne nekkut specifically road dañ ko generalize.
dañ ko generalize.
waaw it was not specifically moto.
no this is man de maam we are not talking about the life insurance we are talking about the motor insurance nañu wax motor insurance ñaata nit leen compensate nañu ko wax nit ñi and exactly ñaata money leen collect from the people so we can do the assessment. That case is not yet done.
Why thing be more according to them tamit da nga gis ku involved in these things do they them support report
so ku frustrated
they don't go
the people are frustrated
full of strategy
they frustrated nit ñi
waaw man daal lu ma gis
so yow soo amee compétition balaa nga ko am da nga frustrated da nga daanu jog bet sona su yàggee nga sona ku jógee àllum xaari fale su ma bëgg sarxulee kon naka lay follow every day mu dem si insurance company dem police dem fale du ko man so ne def def ko te
insurance company dañ xam ne nit ñi are not like ñu bëri si ñoom xamuñ procedure bi moo tax ñoom tam ñu use advantage bi man I think ne nit su ñëwee pour mu insure a vehicle as much as nit ki dafa war a xam lu fa war a nekk waaye insurance company bi tam dañ war a xamal kooku noonu waaw
no now let me give you example we are seeing too much of accident in this country all those vehicles have been covered have valid insurance do you ever had insurance company comments go to RVTH, how many outpatient, how many people are there who suffer with injuries, need assistance? No, they are victims. You need to compensate them. How many lives have been lost? Ñëpp am na alal pour ñoom.
Déedéet waaye xam nga insurance company bi du mun a xam automatically ne kii am accident si man la insure.
Ma ne, but I think we have an association of insurance association in Gambia.
Waaw.
Te ñoo def insurance company ñoo du def assessment. Du dem police ñoo am ba mu dem ñoo am accident. Soo fekkee bëgg na dimbale nit ñi.
waaw
insurance
du seen liggéey
moo tax moo because no système moo leen feebal moo tax nag xam nga wa nga ma fi ne ma dem ànd ak police yi ma xam su ma nit ñi du ñoo joytu nga ne ma ne su ma jël nga war a def pour dimbale nit ñi wala moo tax ma toon baak to dem
ñoom tam ñu def de same
thank you
waaw ba léegi
noonu la affaire si moom noonu la de
waaw
and secondly government help nit ñi di act insurance act bi na nga ko ciiñ na nga ko ameen dafay yaaga since colonial time ba ñun yëpp juddooguñ benn loo boobu mu nekk fii rek mu di duma nit ñi rek government ñu ko seeta do they have expertise xam ne people am ministry of justice they can do that do the consultation ñu change loi yi ndax government people mën a si benefit
definitely
go to our neighboring country fii passé stage boobu léegi
fooguma ne insurance policy bi la rek waaye dafa am loo yu bëri yi nga xam ne dañu war a change am na loo yi nga xam ne day are dusty yooyu ñu ngi fa tegu yooyu duñ ko day use sax dañ ko war a change waaw Mr. Cissé thank you xam naa ne dinañ la bàyyi my boss drove a car without handbrakes the other time so I don't know what will the insurance company say about that. Can you imagine?
He drove a car
without handbrakes.
Can
you imagine? If he comes he will clarify it here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll start the program proper. We'll follow the trend, the usual trend we normally follow. We'll be right back.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build.
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
Light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With the touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office.
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
As the fastest growing GSM company in Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country. 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now, dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, Gambia's trusted network.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. E-Fund Kanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75 and $100 and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10 to $100 using E-Fund Kanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit. Whether you want to buy Q-Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. E-Fund Kanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Today, you know, when a president comes to your show or your premises, you can break the rules. So we decided to break the rules for Mr. President of the Gambia Transport Union and started with our community watch instead of the usual structure. So Ibrahima, we take it on our African proverb. What do we have? We're joined by one of our usual guests here, Adi Dirami, to help us analyze some of the stories we have in the papers, as well as talk about our African proverb this morning.
I'll give him the honor to
read it out.
Shall I read it?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to read it out. It says, "Money has no tongue, and yet it speaks for the rich."
Yeah, that's for the rich people
Money
like
has
me.
no tongue, and yet it speaks for the rich.
Well, it reminds me of that phrase, money talks. Money talks.
And money talks, I guess, sums up that proverb.
Yeah.
But does it only speak for the rich?
It speaks
Is
for
that
the poor
right?
too.
It speaks for the poor also, because, you know, if I go into a shop and I'm poor, I have my money, I don't have, you know, I point at that thing. If I can afford it, I pay. But I guess for the rich,
well,
they can.
I think,
but it's
I
for the poor too.
I think it's different interpretation here. Sure. When you talk about money speaks for the rich, I mean, it's not a matter of a poor man like me getting into a shop to buy something. I mean,
poor man like you. Sorry, I missed that bit. Sorry.
Poor man like me. Sorry. Money gives you respect. I mean,
Yeah.
Money gives you status. Money make people to believe in you. When money talks,
yes,
humanity listens.
Yeah, this sounds like a man who's been doing a lot of listening.
When money sings, humanity dances.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
So you understand?
Yes.
So this is why.
There's a legendary singer.
You remember the other time Mohammed just said to me, "You like money."
You like money.
There's a legendary.
You like money too much.
There's a legendary singer-songwriter called Bob Dylan, and in one of his songs, he has the phrase, "Money doesn't talk; it swears." And again, it was about the power of money. That's what he was alluding to in that one. But I guess there is an element of that, and we see it around Africa, where people can buy. If you have money, you can buy almost anything, and anyone at times. So.
Yeah, money
I guess we can.
And money does talk for the poor too, because you know when you don't have the money, it clearly shows.
But it talks less loudly.
Yeah, it talks less loudly, but someone
poor.
can still tell that.
Sure.
Okay, there's no money. This is what this particular person is going through.
Sure.
And also, you know, money also has that ability of bringing some form of instability or dishonesty. So it actually talks, everywhere in all areas.
There are so many. Proverbs to do with money, money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, and
some people
is,
say, and so on. It can be.
It can be.
Doesn't
when people start having money, their mindsets change.
Yeah, but I think money, when it comes to money, I mean, the poor have more, the rich have more advantage when it comes to money speaking
and
for them.
I think this is what.
The poor man, money can speak for you at a very limited.
It's a lower tone.
Exactly.
Lower tone of voice.
So exactly. So just look at it. Let's take a sample. I mean, today, it happens in our societies. Even if you were to attend a particular gathering, if you're wealthy and everybody knows this guy is a wealthy man, if the gathering is supposed to happen at 10 o'clock and they'll wait for you till 11.
Yes.
If you don't come, that gathering will not proceed.
That happens with both money.
Speaking for you.
It happens with money and with power.
Yeah, and that has
so when you go to some conference, they tell you, "Oh, we can't start until the minister gets here," and the minister arrives 2 hours late.
Absolutely.
Regularly, by the way. And that's about power, And famously, Mandela embarrassed Thabo Mbeki by saying, he's trying to show he's a real African leader by turning up 2 hours late for.
And if the poor man dare stand up and tell the rich man that, why should you come at this time? That's the time when money will start talking.
Yeah, but which shows we have, mindsets need to change.
But they probably never will, because you see it all around the world that people who have money and power, and sometimes have both, they get more of what they want done, because they have the money. They can get things done, because of that. So, in some countries, people with money can get laws changed to benefit them and their businesses. You see it all around the world, in America, even in Europe, where now, some of them are being exposed.
Yeah, it's so sad even how money can, how an entity, for example, multinational corporations, have so much money that they're even able to control a whole state.
It's
affecting.
It's amazing you've just said that, because I just tweeted before I came in here, a friend of mine, Robtel Paley, who she's Empire of Rubber, and she's talking about rubber in Liberia and Firestone, at how they've been able to influence the whole, of Liberia. They were there for over a century. They make tires, in case people don't know, Firestone Company. And they completely, took over people's land, influenced the government to pass laws that were beneficial to them because they had money. And when you look at what's the legacy that Firestone left in Liberia,
that's the question.
Negligible.
So they just affect the whole sovereignty of these countries.
Made billions from Liberia, and you don't see the benefit that Liberia
got. And most of the time, they do not give back any form of social corporate responsibility in the communities that they're walking around.
You talk about that.
Population, when it comes to pollution, just a lot of things
social
happening.
Social corporate responsibility, it's just a matter of writing a document, writing it to show people this is what we want to do. But in actual sense, they will not do it.
No. I mean, the thing is, you can write it, but in many Western countries, when you write it, people want to see that you deliver on it. So it's unlike in Africa where it's just a piece of paper, both for government and businesses, where there's just a tick box. There, people will hold you to account and they will embarrass you.
They will.
Say you said as part of your corporate and social responsibility, you're doing this, show us the evidence. They will embarrass the hell out of you. So you better not just say you're doing stuff. You have to show that you're doing stuff.
You have to do it.
You have to show that you're doing it. Yeah.
All right, so let's proceed.
Yeah, we head right on to the newspaper review.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
We jump.
Dive in.
Let's skip. You remember skip?
We only have two. We have two newspapers. I don't have one, so
yes.
I'm
So
relying
this
on
is
you
the
two.
Point newspaper, and it reads: Transport Union to propose fare increment after Tubaski.
I think we've dealt with that one already.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Gambia, Japan signs $125 million food aid agreement, and Africa Democracy Summit calls on leaders to respect term limits. Minister Silla calls for teamwork among institutions under his ministry.
That's all. Here we have that case of former Ocean Bay employee suffers another setback. And also Bob Keita's trial. High Court orders for paternity test. And witch hunting exercise was politically motivated. TRRC report. And also, this is a future which talks about no ordinary irrigation in the Gambia. Innovative solar power technologies are securing access to water for rural communities. Okay. Interesting one. Yeah, so I think that is all we have here. And also the councils and electoral reform, which has to do with their editorial there. Yes, so Ibrahim, I think that is all we have.
Take us
exactly.
From
Let's start with Gambia, Japan signs 125 MV food aid agreement.
Yes.
Yes.
$125 million.
Another aid.
Yes, food aid this time. I mean, we keep saying that the Ukraine war has shown Russia-Ukraine conflict, or special operations, as Russia prefers to call it, has caused a lot of problems in Africa. In fact, there's an article on Deutsche Welle today which addresses that and how it's impacting Africa. I mean, for the Gambia, for a long time, we've been talking about food security and so on. So I would like to know, what are the details of this deal? Is it something that's going to make the Gambia food secure in 5, 10, or 15 years' time, or not? Because we don't want food aid. We want to learn techniques that can actually benefit us to actually become food self-sufficient.
Teach me how to fish.
Absolutely, teach me how to fish.
Yes.
Don't give me fish. So I hope this is not a case of them giving us fish, but teaching us how to fish, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah. Lessons learned from them, things like that.
Indeed, because there's a lot of kind of modern farming technologies that we could learn from Japan, and so
well, Mr. Ade, I think at some point it's important for at least those that are helping the country. I mean, all this aid coming, they should also help us by telling us. I mean, every time we're sending aid to your country, I mean, it will make you lazy. I mean, you won't be able to work. You won't be able to do it for yourself. And I think all these aids, sometimes they keep the country backward. I mean, they make you very lazy.
They do. And again, I go back to the Russia-Ukraine thing. That's what it's done, not just for the Gambia, but for Africa. It's made Africa lazy. Instead of growing our own grain, we're importing grain for a country which is, in terms of population, as Kagame said, why should Africa, continent of 1.4 billion, expect a country of 44 million to feed it? It's scandalous, and it really should make us wake up.
Yeah, but Ibrahim, you know clearly that these countries are not going to tell us, we are not going to give you aid because it's going to make you lazy. Because that is part of...
That would be rude.
They will not do that. They're not even close to ever doing that. And this has to do with diplomacy. Of course. It's about them trying to give us something for their own interests. All about interests. We also have our interests in their country. And it's about what they have to give us, give and take, win-win situation. Totally. So you never expect these countries to come and tell you. But the point is, as a country that's always on the receiving end, now it's left to you to capture the lessons learned and some of these experiences and develop on your own, where then they will get to shift that attention when it comes to the aid automatically to another country and not you anymore, because then they will help when it comes to security and something else.
Well, but not only that, but when it comes to things like the United Nations, they will expect you to vote with them on certain things that will benefit them.
Exactly.
So it's not free. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And certainly this kind of aid that people say, oh, they're always giving. Well, sometimes they want something back from us, and it might not be monetary.
Well, it reminds me, I watched a particular documentary on Al Jazeera last week. I mean, the flour crisis. There is one lady, I think Nigeria or Uganda. She was using this banana plantain to process it, to change it to flour. You know, and you know, that's the time I realized flour can be made from different types of plants. I mean, you know, so these are things that we should do in Africa. We should try to innovate new things. We have everything here.
By the way, we have everything except plantain, by the way. And anybody from Sierra Leone come here, it's the one thing they always say, why can't I get plantain in the Gambia? We just find it extraordinary, because in Sierra Leone it's so common and so frequently used that you come here, my friends from Sierra Leone, when they find plantain, they'll phone me up and say, by the way, I found somewhere that's selling plantain, shall I get some for you? It's like, it's just not here.
Well, yes.
I don't know why.
Yes. And you know, you cannot say the soil is not fertile to.
If you can grow banana, you can grow plantain.
Yes, you can.
Maybe, so maybe it's not just traditionally.
We are not used to it. We are used to the fast ripe bananas. I mean, the short bananas that we have.
And fried plantains. Oh my God!
Exactly.
Yummy.
Okay. You don't know what you're missing out.
I've never taken them.
You've never had fried plantain before?
I don't know them.
I bought some.
I don't know how they taste.
I bought some across the road, and about 3 years ago when I first moved here, and I brought it to the office, and I was astonished. People were asking me, what is that?
Okay.
And so I shared it out, and they were like, oh, this is fantastic.
It's amazing.
You know, fried plantain.
Fried plantain.
Off the hook, heavenly.
You bite your finger.
You mean the fried one?
Did you fry it?
Fry?
You fry it, and it's so nice.
Okay, I'll try it and see. If I can see it.
We started with Japan, and then we've gone on to fried plantain.
And, you know, we are sending our condolences as well.
I was going to mention that.
You know, to the former Japanese Prime Minister.
Shinzo Abe.
Yes, Shinzo Abe. I think it's really sad. And for me, what's quite shocking is the fact that this is a country where, you know, guns are like really, really controlled, gun ownership. I can't, you know.
We did, I think you did the story. Now, if you imagine that in 2019, there were 3 gun deaths in Japan.
126 million people.
3. In that same year, 2019, America had 37,800 gun deaths. That shows you how rare this is, that somebody is assassinated by a bullet.
And a prime minister, for that matter.
In full view of the public. I mean, you know, the guy just walked behind him.
It was really planned, you know, well planned. And I learned that he made his own gun.
Homemade gun?
It's a homemade gun. I mean, that will show you how difficult it is to access guns.
Exactly.
This shows, but also that shows how disgruntled,
determined and
disgruntled this guy is, because he's actually also ready to die. He's like ready to give up, because he clearly said, I am not satisfied with his
Shinzo
work,
Abe,
and then I decided to kill him. He said that plain, you know.
And as you said, it's sad. I mean, and coincidentally, on the same day that Shinzo Abe died, José Eduardo dos Santos, formerly president of Angola for 39 years, he also died. But yesterday it was announced that his family have asked for an autopsy. I mean, he was 79, but they're claiming that they think he was poisoned. And they're blaming the current government, which has angered Joao Lourenço, J-Lo, the current president. He's not happy. He said, why would I have him killed? You know, I have nothing to gain by killing him. So that's, you know, so two former statesmen died on the same day. But Shinzo Abe's one was shocking because of the nature of it. It was in public and caught on video and so on. And of course, the chap was apprehended straight away. And unfortunately, coincidentally for us, our colleague Gajaga was covering an event where the Japanese ambassador was speaking when they got the news that he had died, because we'd heard that he'd been shot. But, you know, so the ambassador gave a very emotional tribute, and some of the officials, the Gambian officials who were there, also gave their tribute and sent their condolences to the Abe family and the people of Japan.
I am so particular about knowing about what this particular guy is dissatisfied about, considering that Shinzo Abe like kind of left a good legacy. You know, fine, there are a few things that he could not achieve.
Don't ever try and understand the mind of someone
other
like
people,
that.
but I just want to know, like maybe if there's an investigation, I'm sure there'll be a questioning or something.
I mean, there's a guy called Mark Chapman who shot and killed John Lennon.
Yeah.
He shot John Lennon after he'd asked him for his autograph, and he was a fan, and he wanted to be famous. And of course, his name is now forever linked with that of John Lennon. He shot him right up close. He got his autograph, and then he shot and killed him.
That's mental.
That's, you know, so how would you understand somebody like that? You cannot.
But we can't also judge this situation based on that. Maybe there's, you know, a particular policy. I don't know.
But that's what politics is about. You know? People can't all agree. We can't live in a one-party state. You can disagree and be disgruntled with one political party or another.
To the extent of assassinating the individual.
That's excessive.
That's extreme.
Yeah, that is extreme.
That's just too much.
It really is. So yeah. So do you have a
so moving on,
story?
because we already talked about food aid and related matters. Let's talk about this particular story in relation to irrigation. So now they're using solar power technologies as a way of securing access to water for rural communities for agricultural purposes.
Yeah, I mean, I know in Sintet about 3 years ago I went and I saw a project there which was a solar powered borehole project where the water that was generated actually benefited the whole village as well as their farm.
Yes.
And that was solar powered. Very, very good, by the way. Not that they pay me for this, but there was a Gambian company. I won't mention the name because they have competitors.
Yeah.
But they are a Gambian company who did the project. And what was amazing about them was that the community already had a solar powered water borehole project, which wasn't very good. So they went back to that same company who were going to charge them even more for a more expensive one. And this Gambian company then told them by a much cheaper one, which was 10 times better. And at first they were like, it can't be true. How can it be cheaper and it 10 times better? But that's the one they've now been using for the last 3 years. And in Sintet, and it does the garden and provides water for the village. So they put taps throughout the village, and it's solar. And as I said, it's a Gambian company. And they were very, very honest.
Well, you know, sometimes it's important for us to, you know, involve ourselves in certain things that will reduce cost, at the same time effective. You know,
hunt around.
Yes, you see,
shop around.
Yeah, window shop.
My last water bill, you know, it went up to 3,000 plus. You understand?
Water bill.
My water bill.
You had a leakage or something?
No leakage.
3,000 what?
You know, at some point. 3,600. At some point, the issues that I had was, like, NAWEC was not bringing bills for me.
They weren't billing,
They said their machine, you know, had an issue. So they were not bringing bills. So everything compiled and, you know, became a very heavy bill for me.
You were not
You understand? So that's the point where I started thinking, okay, why not? I have a well at the house. Why not I change my well to borehole? You know, so that my well, I can use it for the taps in the bathroom, and you know, maybe the other tap I can use it for drinking and cooking. You understand? But 3,600?
Yeah, that's too much.
That's too much.
That's too
especially as you weren't expecting it. And the thing is, I hear similar stories where people don't get billed for a long time, and I don't know whether they chase the company and say, "Send me a bill." Because if you don't do that, when you do get it, it's going to be a huge bill. So I think, you know, that's the
I think irrigation is very important
thing
because
to learn from
know,
that. Of course, water is life.
If it's not available, then these women cannot go ahead with all of these agricultural practices that they're doing. So let's talk about rape a little bit. Mr. Ade, there is a situation currently, you know, making rounds obviously, which is the Bob Keita case. Currently in court, we can't talk about certain, you know, issues in it. But the problem is, don't you think the public is jumping into conclusion when it comes to these cases? Because it's it's two sides of it. Sure. I'm seeing individuals who are running after feminists, actually insulting feminists in the Gambia, saying that they are jumping into conclusion, they're not sure about the case, they should not say much. And then other individuals who have already concluded that the alleged perpetrator is not the perpetrator. Sure. So I don't know. It's a bit confusing.
I mentioned this before. When you're doing, if you're doing journalism and they are trying to teach you about how to write about court cases, what they tend to do is your lecturer will, without warning, will say, here's a case, and I want you to write a story. And they give you all the, in quotes, facts about the case. And the journalist who will score the top points is the one who stops the lecturer and say, sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Lecturer, you've only told us one side of the story. But many of them don't. Because the one side they hear is so persuasive that they think that is it. And then they say, but you didn't ask me to give you the cross-examination or the other person's evidence. You've just gone on the first. And so you get that a lot. And we live in an age where, you know, people, I even got into an argument with somebody who was telling me, we were arguing about British political system, and he very patronizingly said to me, you're new to this country, probably England, he meant. You probably don't know how the political system works in England. So I had to remind him. I said, actually, I was a senior policy advisor at the Cabinet Office.
Period. In
the UK for 6 years. So I think I should know how the thing. So don't, just because you know me on social media, don't assume you know me, and because I've commented on one thing. But that's the kind of age we live in. You know, you make a single comment, and people think they know you, or they can say something about you, or they hear facts about, or one fact, or when there might be 10 facts, and they run with it. And so people make judgments, and so they make comments, and you get that a lot.
Currently, the trend on social media is that about individuals trying to understand the law. Because, Mr. Ade, problem is, a lot of Gambians do not know that there's nothing like child sex. But rape exists, but there's nothing like child sex. That understanding is not there, because whenever you check, what you see is, oh, they wait. It's a child. The fact that a child can't consent. I'm not talking about specifically on the Bob Keita case, because we're not sure it's alleged perpetrator and victim. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about the social media conversations where individuals do not really understand that child sex does not exist.
Well, this is it. I mean, I know you don't want to get into a particular case, but if a case is in court and the court allows journalists to go and report and cover the case, then you can discuss the case, because you can discuss what has been discussed in court. What you don't want to do is to then start to draw conclusions and draw, you know, conclusions and so on. So that's, but you can comment on the case. But like you said, it's an ongoing one. So maybe just to mention it and so on. But as you've also alluded, it brings up other things that need to be discussed in how people are reacting and what people are saying, and people are being, you know, criticized and attacked.
To many, child sex is child sex. It's not rape. You know, rape does not exist. It's a sex.
Which of course the law doesn't recognize.
So, and again, another debate that is coming out from this particular case is the fact that now the court is resorting to a paternity test. You know,
saw that in the headline.
And now they're calling, because the case did not pursue the boyfriend, the alleged boyfriend, who as well, according to unconfirmed reports, was also having sexual relation with, you know, the victim that we are talking about. So now that individual was not pursued by the state, but now being called together with Bob Keita to actually now do a paternity test. What do you think? Because an individual who was not part of the case previously, and now all of a sudden both of them have to go through this.
It can happen, and I have personal experience of it. My fiance's daughter was in exactly the same situation where two guys were claiming to be father of her child.
Interesting.
And in fact, unfortunately for her, the one that she didn't want
became the father.
To be the one she didn't want to be the
Oh
father
my God.
turned out to be. So I have direct experience of it because I was there when the results came through, and that was quite shocking.
That's not funny, Ibrahim.
It's not funny.
That's not funny.
At all.
That's
not funny.
sad. That's
No.
No,
Come on.
You know, because and the two characters were so different. The two men, they were like chalk and cheese, and you know, as I said, she didn't want.
But how did she deal with that after?
I think the way she dealt with it was, I think deep down she knew that the one that, as I said, she didn't want to be the father. She knew that he really was
The father.
No, but I mean,
but it's not funny.
No,
it's not even vaguely funny.
It's not funny.
So I don't even know why you're laughing.
No, women. I mean, women knows the real father of
No,
the child.
No, don't even go there. Please,
I mean, actually, I mean, if at all you know the father of your child, you know it. Chenaba. You know it. You are like, whether you pretend that you don't know.
You mean you don't know that saying? You don't know that saying? It's a very African saying.
Anyway.
You know.
But anyway,
yeah.
things need to go through processes at the end of the day.
Baby boy, you know.
So you are talking about this person being invited into the process when he was not involved in the original case. He's not being taught. But if that is one way of determining something, then it's unavoidable. That person ends up being dragged
now,
into
which means they're depending on a paternity test instead of other evidences that actually exist.
It might not be that alone.
Okay.
It might be that plus other evidence. But
Well,
I wouldn't imagine that is all they're depending on.
Anyway, we're getting a lot of unconfirmed reports when it comes to this particular case, but
I think I would say to any journalist, go to the court and listen to the evidence.
Get the right information and all of that. I think that is the most important thing to be able to understand. Ibrahim, you mentioned something there. That's the voice, right? There's something interesting that you mentioned previously. I don't know if you can go back to that.
Is that the Minister Silla?
Minister Silla?
Minister Silla called for teamwork among institutions under his ministry. Teamwork.
That should happen anyway. So Minister Silla is which one?
Okay, let's just look at it.
And now the Minister of Works as well.
Right. Okay.
Former Minister of Information.
Former information guy, I meant.
Communication infrastructure.
Yes.
And now we know there's also Mamoudou Lamin Choi interviewed the new Minister of Digital Economy. You know, a completely new ministry. You know, what's your take on that?
And if he's watching, my take.
Yeah.
If he's watching, please get every ministry to update their website. You cannot have ministries having websites that are 2-3 years out of date. Yes, 2 or 3 years. And when I say ministries, I'm talking about 90% of them. Okay? So if we're going to have a digital economy, get that right to start with. You know, fix it. You know, that's basic. You can't even have a website. And also, just to carry on with my rant, get them, if people write to them, get them to respond. But I've always said this as a joke. Maybe it's me they don't like. But I cannot remember the last time I wrote to a ministry on their supposed email and got a response. I cannot remember it. And I've been here 3 years. Am I the only one who gets that? Like I said, maybe it's me.
Maybe they have changed that email.
Maybe they don't like me.
Yes.
Well, this is it.
They do because they don't.
Their websites don't work.
Are dormant.
They don't respond to their emails. They have phone numbers that they don't pick up. Listen, he needs to fix that before he starts talking about digital economy. That's pie in the sky stuff.
Anyway,
seriously, that's well, you know.
So he's talking about, you know, coming up. What do you think? He talked about policies. Or, you know, after listening to that interview, what's your take?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said to
putting aside websites.
but it's like all these things are nice.
Yeah,
they look great on paper. You know, if Gambia was run in reality how it is on paper, it'd be the best run country in the world. But it's not. We all know that. So they can dream up all this stuff. Ministers can come up with all this stuff. We want to see them deliver. Okay? So he and any minister, they can talk about stuff. We will judge them on what they do in 6 months, 9 months, in a year's time. That will be the acid test. Have they delivered? Well, it's nice to have all these fancy things you want to do.
Rwanda, you know, has been given a thumbs up, you know, by the Commonwealth Secretariat for doing a brilliant hosting of this summit. And you know what? Made it so easy for journalists. The videos that we get to play are structured, detailed, amazing.
And you know what's even better than that? This weekend, So 2 weeks ago, they were hosting the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
This weekend, he's hosting La Francophonie, which is the community of French-speaking countries. The same Rwanda in Kigali.
So what's special? You know, you've been following up so much on this. Why do you think that, apart from that, why do you think they deserve the thumbs up?
It's remarkable because, you know, the West has a kind of odd relationship with Kagame.
Yeah.
He just announced this week that he's going to run for a 4th term.
Right.
For president, and people are like, oh my gosh, you know, and people in Rwanda were saying we like him and we want him to stay. But they look at it, and it's a country which we all know. I mean, people always say 800,000 were killed, but Kagame always says 1 million were killed in 100 days.
Yeah.
So we'll take his statistic. The fact that the country has recovered under his leadership to where it is now, in terms of IT, is probably the leading country in Africa. In terms of cleanliness, is probably second only to Cape Verde. You know, you know, it's a well-run country, and so people now feel they can go there. And as you rightly say, the Commonwealth Secretariat and the Commonwealth institutions, they were really impressed with how well they organized and ran the Commonwealth Heads of Government Summit. Our president and the president of South Africa, I think, were the only two who didn't attend.
Yeah.
Minister Tangara attended on behalf of.
We also had youth representatives.
That's right.
Lala
and
Ture and Momodou Davis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, we should have interviewed them when they got back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they feel that this is somebody who's doing something right, and so even though, you know, sometimes they get criticism about his human rights record, which unfortunately for the BBC journalist who is based in Kenya normally, she asked him this question last week. Not last week, 2 weeks ago at the Commonwealth thing, and said, you know, what about your questionable human rights record? What about the fact that some of your opposition people are in prison?
Yeah, I was going to come
He took 16 minutes to destroy her and the argument. He smashed it to smithereens.
He did?
He said, give me the names. He said, give me the names. He said, anybody you name, I can show you that they went through a proper court of law that was not influenced by me, and they were sentenced. He said, one of the chief people that you are talking about, she's free because I used presidential prerogative to get the courts to release her. He said, so you name, he said, stop throwing these idle words around, bring evidence or shut up. And he's right. And he's right. And so they see that he's delivering, and they see that he's making a difference to the lives of his people. And so they feel they can go there and they can do business with him.
All right. So I think, yeah, let's wrap it up now. Actually, we are about to be joined shortly by Ajibintu Drama. It was in Abuja, Lagos or Abuja?
In Lagos.
Okay, she was in Lagos, and she attended ECOWAS trade advocacy for media practitioners, you know, enhancing communication strategies for effective trade and trade facilitation in West African countries. And she'll be telling us all about it when it comes to why the need for journalists to understand trade protocols, and, you know, what is her take home. And she spent less than a week in Lagos, but she's probably coming to speak Yoruba when she comes on here. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. Pleasure. Thank you.
The training of these 25 journalists seeks to enhance the capacity of media practitioners by equipping them with effective strategies to improve advocacy and communication, to ensure that trade and trade facilitation instruments work for and impact positively on their populations. At the opening, Kolawole Sofola, Director of Trade and ECOWAS Commission, says the significance of the training is to build capacity and knowledge of journalists on trade and other related issues, which will develop and assist policymakers and inform citizens for nation building and development.
The objective of this capacity building workshop is to allow media to contribute to the facilitation of cross-border and international trade by reporting and providing critical information on trade issues in the region, promoting and facilitating regional multi-stakeholder dialogue, including with the public and the private, on issues related to regional trade policies and trade agreements, and creating platforms for consultation between stakeholders along in particular key corridors.
As West Africa's population booms and its economy continues to expand, the opportunities for businesses to trade across the region are numerous. Despite this, economic growth rates in most of the countries are lagging and poverty remains high. Bernard Tayo, head of Component Transit and Trade Corridors, further explains.
Our support measures are aimed at supporting collaborative initiatives between the non-state actors and the public sector, all aimed at improving the trade facilitation environment in the region. And with new trade facilitation, new protocols coming up, both in the region and in the continent, including under the AFCFTA, we deem it necessary to build the capacity of civil society organization members and journalists that you are to understand the implications of these measures and be able to play a key role.
Participants have great expectations for the course of the week-long session. Usman Mane and Pamudu Cham are both participants. They said the training will equip them with knowledge and skills to be able to give out essential information in the best way possible.
Engage the relevant authorities from the Ministry of Trade, the private sector, as well as the general public, because we know we do trade with our neighboring country, that is Senegal, and we know the barriers on trade and non-trade tariffs. So these are issues that need to be dissected for our people to understand.
We go back to our media houses, we will make sure that at least we report on trade, we hold the government accountable, we know what is working, how are they, at least making sure that we gain something from WTO, which is the World Trade Organizations. What are our responsibilities? Are we actually regularizing our status?
Ajibintu Drame.
Short break, if you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. That's Ajibintu Drame there in Abuja. All about it when it comes to ECOWAS trade advocacy community. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
So Adi was talking about the fact that you were going to talk in Yoruba, so I might probably have to change my accent, Ibrahim. We should try that?
Yes, let's try it.
We should try that.
Whether it's going to work.
Yeah, so take us through, what is the importance of journalists understanding things?
Well, thank you very much for having me. If you remember, I was in Lagos, Ikeja.
Okay, so Mr. Ade said, I came up with Lagos.
Yeah, Lagos, Ikeja. Yeah. And to greet you is, I think in Yoruba, it's sister me, like my sister or brother me. Yeah, that's what I picked before going to Nigeria. Yeah. So the training was quite interesting and interactive, and I for one, it has broadened my horizon and it has made me pick some trade, as an interest. Because if you see the ECOWAS protocols or ECOWAS, as an organization or institution, there are a lot of things lacking, and it is good for journalists to bring to the fore and set agenda for the sub-region, because we have seen it has a lot of principles, and aims, which is to bring to raise the standard of living of its people, and also economic integrations among other. But all of these are lacking when it comes to trade, because it's like it is highly focused on politics. And when it comes to that, the part of journalists is the lack of commitment and sincerity by ECOWAS member states to implement ECOWAS protocols have been a major cause for concern. Because if you see, since the formation of the economic implementation of trade economic policies and treaties have numerous of challenges. So one of it is due to its lack of knowledge of the subject matter. Journalists hardly or less report on trade issues, and lack of awareness of its citizens of the member states region. So the training was all aimed at bringing journalists from the Anglophone West Africa region, 5 countries. We have Nigeria, the Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ghana, to be or use as a tool to advocate and promote trade facilitation in the sub-region.
So what's because I know those were the
there are a lot of strategies, because first, if you know what is lacking, because what is lacking is because journalists had to report of it, and one of the things that we were really emphasizing during the training is bringing like plans on how to go about in advocating this, and how to bring awareness creation. It has to do with a lot of reporting. We need to report on trades in order to create awareness, and also show people their rights, their opportunities, benefits from trading within the ECOWAS region, and also through those strategies, how will you use those strategies? One, like I mentioned, more reporting on trade in order to help government accountable and decision makers into adhering or agreeing to the ECOWAS protocols, doing a lot of programs, going to the grassroots levels, asking questions, because trade is quite important when it comes to Africa or even ECOWAS, as a whole, because trade is important, like I mentioned, but it is lacking. Why is it lacking? There are a lot of challenges when it comes to lack of common currency, the ECO, language barrier, lack of infrastructure, multiple barriers or checkpoints. It discourages, and also lack of commitment in implementing the ECOWAS protocol, because they have signed a lot of MOUs, and a lot of treaties, but they are not adhering to these protocols. So these are some of the things that at least makes trade not working in the sub-region, because this tends to bring the question why ECOWAS, as an intra-trade, oscillates from, between 12 to 15% always, and to see like countries or regions like the EU is where the ECOWAS was modeled, going to high as 60%. That is quite ridiculous, because when it comes to trade in West Africa, the population is growing. It has a lot of opportunities, but we are not using these opportunities in order to reduce poverty, in order to reduce the unemployment rate and orders for development.
Fine, Gambia did kind of have the access to information, but Mr. Ade will talk about how it's already in the access to information, they did not work. So did you also kind of bring in, the duty bearers in that area? Because journalists can't report. The reason why journalists do not report on issues related to trade and to dip into these MOUs and to understand all of these things, it's simply because they do not have the information. They can't report on it.
Yes.
That's the reason. So some of those things where they highlighted?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because those things were highlighted. It was a broad topic, because when it was highlighted, there are other strategies, because sometimes they will just call journalists to, just serve as a PR and say government blah, government this, signed an MOU, and when you tend to ask them what was signed, what was agreed, they don't tend to, give out that information. But if you do your research and have a little knowledge and give them time to it and do a follow-up, that is part of the strategy in order to hold them accountable and doing follow-ups, doing research on how many MOU of those kinds were being signed and there is no development, or you have not seen any improvement. As a journalist, use those tools and see, how best you can inform them, Because
here I'm talking about the authorities themselves, like if they invite trade-related authorities to also come and attend with you as journalists, for them to also just understand that the information does not come out from them. Were they there to know?
Yeah, because one of the lead facilitators was a journalist and a lawyer and also part of the ECOWAS Commission.
At the same time?
Yeah, at the same time. So he knows what is on the ground. So that is what I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
They know it is very hard to get information of those sort, because they think like journalists are enemies to them. So, like I mentioned earlier, using those tools, you will know how to go about and maneuver your way to bring out what is relevant to the population in order to make that impact.
So we are looking forward to now reports coming from her on trade.
Exactly.
Yeah. Specialization coming up.
Well, I know it's important
Yeah.
And the training is like this. It's a lifetime opportunity. And don't they have plans to do this thing time to time? Because I don't think training for a week is enough.
Yeah, you are right, because trade is a complex issue, and it is very broad and technical. That's why a lot of journalists tend to, move away from it, because it is quite complex. You need to deal with finance, yes, numbers and all. So when it comes to that, as a journalist, they are too lazy to do that. So we have created, the participants from the training have created a fund, a networking that will help us, advocate and also, achieve our goals and aims. And everyone, is expected to go to your member of various countries to advocate for trade. So they will be monitoring, you know it or not, they will be monitoring from the media outlets. You are working on on the stories, on how to, sorry, I shouldn't say stories, because you told us that stories and reports are quite different. On reports,
Yeah, so I think that's all we have time for. Ibrahima, I think we need to go, and thank you so much.
Yeah,
and
exactly. So now we'll be waiting for your report.
Yeah, sure. We will look forward to that, Ibrahima. So that is all. But you didn't bring gifts, did you?
I'll keep it low.
Okay, we'll keep it on the low. Till we come your way tomorrow with another interesting program. Bye for now.